Today, we're making fish and chips vegan. It's about to get weird. I've been vegetarian for over 4 years now, and weirdly enough, the thing that I miss most is a good fish and chips. Not steak, not bacon, fish and chips. I think it's because there's so many good red meat and chicken replacements on the market nowadays, but there's nothing to fill the void of a delicious, crispy, light beer-battered fish with some amazing hand-cut chips and an ice-cold pint. I think I just miss frosty pints and going to restaurants. To make our vegan fish, we're going to use these. Banana blossoms. Yeah, I know, weird, right? But bear with me. This is a trend from about 3 or 4 years ago. So as usual, I have my finger on the pulse. The advantage of being so delayed is that I can learn from other people's attempts and mistakes and make a more well-rounded, tested recipe. So we're going to do some research on the old kitchen laptop. Everyone's got a kitchen laptop, right? Okay, well if you don't, you got to get one. www.bing, www.google.com, www.youtube.com, vegan banana blossoms, Okay, I'm back. I watched heaps of videos on the topic and I tried a few of the recipes to varying degrees of success, but I think I've come up with my own recipe that works really well. First things first, let's talk about these banana blossoms. What the heck are they? They are the flower that grows at the bottom of the bunch of the banana. They look kind of weird. They look kind of like the face hugger from Alien. What the fuck am I doing with my life? So they work well as a fish substitute because firstly they're sort of shaped like a fish and they're also very flaky like a Capetonian. They don't have much of a taste, which is good, so we can add flavor to it. The first thing we need to do is make these things taste like fish. A lot of the recipes I followed went a bit wild on the flavors. They added a bunch of soy sauce and a whole lot of weird things. I think they've all been vegan so long they've forgotten what fish actually tastes like. But fish is quite subtle, so I've sort of toned down some of the flavors. We need enough water to submerge them. This all depends on how big your Tupperware is and how many fillets you're doing. Then we're gonna add half a cup of salt. I know this seems like a lot of salt because it is, but this is a brine, and we're trying to make it taste like the ocean, and we're gonna rinse it off afterwards, so don't worry. Then we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of capers, and then we're gonna tear up a few sheets of nori. A lot of recipes that I followed ground up the nori, which I found a bit weird. It got into the layers of the fish, and then when you were eating the fish, you got like pieces of nori, so I'm not going with that. So I'm just putting a few sheets in here, and if you leave it long enough, it should infuse. Then we add the juice of a whole small lemon, and then I also just throw the slices of lemon in afterwards to infuse extra lemony flavor. Ideally, I would have used a bigger container for this, but as we've established on several occasions, I'm an idiot. So once you've added all your ingredients, mix it up a bit. I'm going to do that off camera so it doesn't make a huge mess. Then we're going to cover it and put it in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours, preferably overnight, so it gets maximum flavor infusion. I guess not. As predicted, that spilt on the floor and now I've got fish water in my shoe. So yeah, definitely use a bigger container than I did. I make these mistakes so you don't have to. In true Delia Smith style, here are some I've prepared earlier. I also did these in a larger container because apparently my past self is more intelligent than my present self. These have been in the marinade overnight, so let's crack them and see what they're doing. Whew! That smells like the ocean. But does it sound like the ocean?
My guy pretty like a girl.
Please don't copyright strike me, Frank. So what we need to do now is remove as much moisture as possible because when we deep fry them, we don't want any moisture in the fillets. We're going to put these in the fridge for an extra 20 to 30 minutes just to remove some extra moisture. So these magically multiplied in the fridge. Don't you love it when that happens? A little hack I picked up from the Edgy Veg was she wraps them in rice paper to give them that fried fish skin. It's an amazing little hack. So how we do that is we dip our rice paper in lukewarm water until it becomes soft. Then we wrap the fillets in the rice paper. Guys, that looks so weird on camera. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. After a bit of an existential crisis there, these are all wrapped and ready to go in the fridge for another 10 to 15 minutes. In that time, we're going to prep our dry dredge before we put them in the batter. In a shallow mixing bowl, we're going to mix half a cup of all-purpose flour and half a cup of rice flour. An important step is to realize you didn't have a whisk ready, and then you go find it. And then we bring in our fillets for it and dredge them in the flour. So we want to coat them as well as possible. This will help the batter stick to the fish. These are going to go into the fridge for one last stint while we prep our wet batter. So we're finally ready to make our wet batter. Better late than never, I always say. Ugh, Sims, grow up. So to make this wet batter, we're going to add 3/4 cups of all-purpose or self-raising flour and then half a cup of rice flour. Some fish and chips recipes recommend using cornstarch. I found rice flour gives a much crispier skin, and then we're going to finish it off with a teaspoon of salt and whisk that all up. Okay, now that the dry ingredients are whisked together, we're going to add some beer. South Africa is currently in a booze ban thanks to the pandemic, so I've got a non-alcoholic beer here. Tastes like disappointment. With regards to the beer, you don't want anything too crafty or hoppy. You want a more light, subtle beer because it's more about the carbonation of the beer than the taste. If you don't want to use beer at all, you can use sparkling water because it's all about the bubbles. Or you could use your bubbly personality. I'm looking at you. We're going to whisk in about 75% of this bottle of beer to start with. You want the consistency of a thin pancake batter, so a thick batter doesn't equal crispiness. Okay, so that's at the consistency I want. We're going to put this in the fridge while we wait for our oil to heat up. But if you're better at multitasking than me, you would have already heated your oil up. We're going to heat up about 2 liters of vegetable oil to about 190 degrees Celsius, 375 Fahrenheit. You never want to fill your pot more than halfway just because of the displacement. It's dangerous. Deep frying is not my strong suit. I'm a big coward. I'm scared of it. I often mess it up because I'm scared of it. I never know when the oil's ready. And a lot of videos give these stupid hacks like put the back of a wooden spoon in and if it bubbles, it's ready. Or put a popcorn kernel in and if it pops, it's ready. What the f does that mean? What temperature is it ready at? So I just went and bought a thermometer. It's not expensive and it'll give me an accurate reading.
To check if the oil is ready, touch it with your hand. Just kidding. We're going to submerge our fillets in the batter and then shake off any excess. Then dip your fillet into the hot oil and swirl it around like this. I'm not sure why, but I saw someone else doing it and it looked really professional. Drop the fillet into the oil away from yourself to ensure that you don't splash hot oil everywhere. Fry 2 fillets at a time as not to crowd the pot. Fry for about 3 to 4 minutes or until golden brown and crispy. Place the fillets on a wire cooling rack. This is really important to prevent the bottoms from getting soggy. Finally, hit them with some salt and plate them up.
ASMR. Okay, so I've obviously made this a few times while I was testing the recipe. You're not going to get a, oh wow, holy shit, this tastes like fish. Whoa, is this fish? Mind equals blown. You're not going to trick a fish and chips lover into thinking this is fish and chips. Like there's no way. It's clearly a deep fried plant. But this is delicious. It's crispy, battered, has the right amount of seafood taste for me. The batter was delicious. And that's really why we eat fish and chips, right? And it does scratch that itch for me that I was saying, like, because I miss fish and chips. I haven't had it in over 4 years. But yeah, give this a try. It's well worth the effort if you can source the banana blossoms. That's it for vegan fish and chips. I hope you enjoyed it. If you make it at home, tag me on Instagram at FlavorSims. Like and subscribe and keep cooking, I guess. Catchphrase. For this vegan tartar sauce, the ingredients and method are in the description of the video. It's really good, by the way. Damn it, I keep forgetting that's non-alcoholic beer. Just want something to numb the pain.